Morning, good day, good afternoon, good night, good
Good
evening,
afternoon. Good
wherever
afternoon.
wherever you are welcome to our fourth webinar for this mandate. Um, Let me introduce our program. We are the Heritage and Cultural Identity Program of the UIA, which is the International Union of Architects. We are interested in heritage through around the world, and this webinar today will talk about the culture and the resilience with the tourism. Our speakers and our moderator is Ms. Georgia Christine. She is one of our famous one of famous architects in Greece, and I think Georgia can introduce yourself and our speakers. Georgia, the microphone was you.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm glad to have the opportunity to uh, be the moderator of this very interesting and much promising webinar, which is titled "Cultural and Architectural Heritage: Resilience through Sustainable Tourism." I am an architect, and I am a professor in the University of West Attica in Greece. And I'm in the Department of Industrial Design and Production Engineering. So let's have some words about this webinar. And Cultural and architectural heritage serves as a powerful driver for tourism, connecting people with history, art, and local traditions. These unique elements for a destination not only attract visitors, but also from a cornerstone of community identity and pride. Sustainable tourism offers a framework to leverage this heritage responsibly, ensuring its preservation for future generations while fostering economic and social resilience. Globally, the integration of cultural landmarks and the sustainable tourism strategies has demonstrated transformative impacts. Historic sites from ancient temples and castles to traditional villages are increasingly managed with eco-friendly practices. This includes the adoption of renewable energy, green building techniques, and visitor management systems to minimize environmental degradation while enhancing visitor experiences. Accessibility and infrastructure are critical to supporting tourism centered around heritage. Investments in transportation networks, digital technology for virtual tours, and mobility solutions such as cycling paths and pedestrian zones allow visitors uh, to, to explore sites conveniently and sustainably. Modern hospitality offerings, including accommodations with cultural themes and local cuisines, you, further, further deepen the tourist experience. Also, local communities play a vital role in the success of sustainable tourism. Their involvement in managing heritage sites, offering authentic cultural experiences, and crafting local products creates a virtuous cycle of economic growth and preservation. Educational initiatives also foster awareness about both residents and visitors about the importance and safeguarding cultural and architectural treasures. Let's see, let's see now the challenges to heritage and tourism. The increasing popularity of heritage tourism presents challenges that threaten the sustainability and resilience of cultural and architectural assets. Over tourism, for instance, places excessive pressures on infrastructure, degrades the physical condition of sites, and diminishes the quality of the visitor experience. Iconic landmarks such as Venice and Angkor Wat in Cambodia uh, face issues like overcrowding and environmental stress. Moreover, climate change poses a significant threat to heritage sites. Rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and changing temperatures can damage historic buildings, archaeological sites, and natural landscapes. For example, the Maldives cultural sites are at risk due to the rising sea levels, while increased flooding um, endangers historic sites like Venice. In many cases, local communities struggle the benefit from the influx of tourists. Uh, Revenue generated by tourism often fails to reach those directly responsible for preserving cultural heritage. Additionally, uh, unregulated tourism can lead to the commodification of culture, reducing its authenticity and alienating local populations. So, by focusing on sustainable tourism destinations, uh, can enhance resilience against challenges such as climate change, as I told before, over tourism and economic instability. This approach not only protects heritage but also diversifies economies and strengthens cultural connections. As a result, cultural and architectural heritage remains not only a window to the past, but also a pathway to a more sustainable and resilient future for global tourism. At this point, I would like to introduce you, our speakers, starting with Mrs. Spiridoula Georgi from Greece, which is a PhD candidate in our university. Uh, Dr. Mohamed Amer from Egypt, a researcher in heritage marketing and sustainable culture tourism, and Dr. Ioannis Choubans, which is an art and design historian. Our first speaker now is Mrs. Spiridoula Georgi, which is a civil and infrastructure engineer. She has a master's degree in environmental design of infrastructure projects, and she's a PhD candidate at the University of West Africa on the topic uh, study of energy autonomy of the city of Ioannina from renewable energy systems. Mrs. Georgie, the time is yours now. You can start.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all. So today I will discuss the resilience of the city of Ioannina, focusing on how its cultural heritage and tourism sector have become pivotal in ensuring its sustainability and development. Okay. Ioannina, a city rich in history and culture, located northwestern in Epirus region of Greece, stands in architectural ingenuity. Encompassed by Lake Pamvotis and surrounded by rugged mountains, the city's unique heritage reflects its diverse architecture and cultural heritage through a rich tapestry of Byzantine, Ottoman, and modern Greek influences. By harnessing its rich cultural legacy, modern infrastructure, and strategically interacting sustainable tourism practices, Ioannina demonstrates remarkable resilience. As a participant in the European Union's 100 climate-neutral cities initiative, Ioannina is committed to sustainable development and environmental resilience, with projects that include the promotion of eco-friendly transportation, such as pedestrian pathways, cycling routes, and improved public transit systems, as well as the integration of renewable energy sources. Blend of tradition and modernity, making it an essential destination of those passionate about costs, a wealth of cultural and architectural attractions and captivate visitors. Among these is the historic castle of the city, a focal point of architectural and cultural significance that has shaped Ioannina's urban identity, around which the city has developed over centuries. The castle, the Aslan Pasha and Fetif Mosque, the Byzantine Museum, the Municipal Ethnographic Museum, and the Silversmithing Museum, which highlight the city's connection to Lake Pamvotida, Sorry, I found my internet connection was lost. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
you
yes,
do.
we hear you.
Yeah. Please
Okay.
share your screen
Can
again.
you see my presentation? Okay.
Yes.
At what point did you lose me?
In that slide. In that slide.
Okay, so the city's connection to Lake Pamvotida, further, I will say it again, okay? Enriches its cultural and natural heritage. Lake Pamvotida and its island, dotted with monasteries and local crafts, further enhances the city's tourism, combining natural splendor with cultural depth. On the island, visitors as historic monasteries adorned with remarkable frescoes that reflect the region's Byzantine artistry. The island also hosts traditional workshops where artisans craft local specialties, offering a unique glimpse into Ioannina's living heritage. The city of Ioannina is home to numerous cultural institutions and architectural monuments. Also features over 10 museums, each offering unique insights into its rich history. Vreli is one of the most famous museums, which is showcasing lifelike figures like depicting historical and cultural figures of the region, located just a short drive from the city. Visitors also come to Ioannina in order to visit the ancient Theater of Dodoni, a remarkable archaeological site that connects modern audiences to the cultural achievements of ancient Greece, and the picturesque stone-built villages of Zagori with their unique architecture and natural beauty. Additionally, visitors can explore more than 50 listed preserved buildings, ranging from Ottoman era structures to traditional Epirus mansions, showcasing the city's diverse architectural heritage. Accessibility plays a pivotal role in Ioannina's tourism framework to the city via models of transport and have better connected the region both nationally and internationally. Visitors can reach the city via the modern Egnatia and Ionia, those highways, which connect Ioannina to major Greek cities, and the port Igoumenitsa, a critical gateway for international travelers. The Ioannina National Air further enhances connectivity, linking the city to Athens and other destinations. Additionally, regional bus services and scenic routes enhance the traveler's experience, ensuring Ioannina is both accessible and welcoming for tourists. Within Ioannina, sustainable mobility is encouraged through pedestrian-friendly zones and emerging plans for eco-friendly public transportation, aligning with its inclusion in the EU's 100 climate neutral cities initiative. Okay, the Epirus region's revenue from tourism in 2022 represented 2% of the country's total revenue, while the direct contribution of tourism to the region's GDP amounted 8%. Tourism is a crucial sector for the economy of Ioannina, boosting local development and creating jobs. After 2020, the city saw a significant increase in the number of short-term rental accommodations, exceeding 500, indicating increased demand and the market's adaptation to new hospitality trends. In addition, the area offers a wealth of hotels and guest houses, meeting the needs of visitors. In 2022, the number of accommodations in the city of Ioannina is estimated at almost 12,000. All the precise statistics on the number of tourist occupancy, and development of the tourism sector in the area. Over-tourism in Ioannina is a phenomenon that has begun to cause concern, particularly due to the city's increasing popularity as a destination for cultural and natural tourism. During peak periods such as weekends, festive periods, and summer, the massive influx of visitors creates intense pressure on the city's infrastructure, such as roads, accommodation, and public spaces. Iconic attractions such as the castle, the island of the Lake Pambotis, and the ancient theater of Dodoni are filled with tourists, which can spoil their experience, but also make life difficult for residents. Further, natural and cultural monuments are causing damage and environmental pollution. The increased consumption of resources such as water and energy, as well as the production of waste, create new challenges for the city's sustainability. To address over-tourism, it is necessary to adopt management strategies These include extending in sustainable infrastructure and creating policies that promote responsible tourism. In this way, Ioannina can maintain its authenticity and ensure a balanced development. Cultural heritage plays a crucial role in building resilience by fostering sense of efforts have been made to preserve and for monuments like Fetih Mosque and Aslan Pasha Mosque have not only safeguarded architect's role as a cultural and educational spaces. One notable initiative is Ioannina's participation in the Resilient Europe project, aimed at enhancing urban resilience through integrated action plans. Specific actions under its initiative included the restoration of historic buildings, the creation of cultural hubs in repurposed spaces, and the promotion of community-based tourism projects to enhance local stakeholders and visitors alike. According to the city's Resilient Action Plan, a key focus has been on leveraging cultural heritage as a tool for sustainable urban development. By investing in this restoration and adaptive reuse of historic buildings, Ioannina has created spaces that support cultural activities, tourism, and local businesses, fostering economic growth and social cohesion. The city of Ioannina represents a complex urban ecosystem of economic threats. Some of them include extreme poverty, environmental and climate hazards, air pollution, infrastructure issues, a variety of challenges. It is critical for the municipality to address the issue to resilient city. Development has a strong focus in the city center and the lakefront. The major development projects took place in the historic city center, including pavement, lighting, and public spaces, and in the lakeside area with the construction of a playground, cycle path, and areas for leisure activities and events. Moreover, the city faces significant infrastructure problems. Old, broken, and fragmented infrastructure that require massive investment plans to repair. In the last 5 years, an effort has been made to reconstruct the main axis of the road network by widening roads and building level and uneven junctions, both within the city at key points and at the entrance to the city. An additional purpose of the reconstruction of the road network is to reduce the city's increased traffic. To this day, the city presents an image of a large construction site. While Ioannina has made significant strides, challenges remain. The city must balance tourism development with the preservation of its cultural and natural assets. Over-tourism, environmental degradation, and the impact of climate change on Lake Bambotiza are pressing concerns. Addressing these issues requires a holistic approach that integrates sustainable practices into tourism and urban planning. Partnerships with other resilient cities across Europe can provide valuable insights and resources to address common challenges. Visitor satisfaction in Ioannina with regard to infrastructure, accommodation, and the city's resilience is generally high, but there is room for improvement. The city's accommodations cover a wide range of needs, from luxury hotels to traditional guest houses, offering comfortable and authentic accommodation. However, improving infrastructure such as transport, parking, and pedestrian areas is crucial to better serve visitors. The city's resilience is also important, which is strengthened through initiatives for the sustainable management of resources and the protection of its natural and cultural environment. Despite challenges such as increasing tourism, the city is constantly adapting, improving the visitor experience, and establishing its reputation as a modern and welcoming destination. In conclusion, Ioannina's heritage and tourism, by preventing its historical assets and embracing sustainable tourism practices, the city has created a model of balancing tradition and modernity. Ioannina demonstrates that resilience is not just about withstanding challenges, but also about adapting the thriving by leveraging unique strengths. As we reflect on Ioannina's journey, let us consider how its example can inspire other cities and tourism potential for a resilient and sustainable future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Georgie, for your interesting presentation. And now it's time to introduce Dr. Mohammed Amer, which is a member of ICOMOS, International Cultural Tourism Committee. He has an interdisciplinary innovative research in many scientific fields, such as heritage management, urban and rural heritage development, and many others. The title of Dr. Amer's presentation is The Culture Landscape of Cività di Bagno Reggio from Italy, heritage branding case study. Dr. Amer, you can start.
Thanks so much for your presentation and your introduction.
I think you are on mute. You are on mute. Unmute.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Hear you, yes. Yeah.
So,
okay.
So, Mr. Samer, you can share your screen, please.
It's okay?
Yes, just they will share a screen of the presentation. We send them.
Okay.
So, do you see my screen now? Do you see my screen?
Yes, now we see it.
Okay.
Thanks.
So thanks too much for this meeting and this webinar. As Dr. Georgia presenting that it will be a case study about Civita di Banuriggio cultural landscape in Italy, and it is the main case study of my PhD about heritage marketing and sustainable cultural tourism. And the main theory of this thesis or the project overall under the auspices of AICS cooperation, the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So the case study, it's mainly here, we can present firstly about the significance of branding. That, as we know here from this photo, that the price changed totally between to have a brand on the cup of coffee or not have a brand. So the brand plays a crucial role to share the value of this cup of coffee with the community. By the way, I focused on how to create or generate a conservative brand and how to valorize the value of the heritage site in the mind of the community and at the same time in the mind of the visitors. By the way, we can minimize the negative contribution of the visitors at the heritage site and push them to respect the cultural diversity. On the other hand, we can create a lifelong learning memory for the heritage site community. So here, this presentation, I will try to share with you how we can invest the cultural identity, including the tangible and intangible heritage expressions of the heritage site, in order to make a conservative management approach in the sustainable cultural tourism. The case study started to go out from the approach, or we can say the perspectives of the heritage tourism that just go to pay tickets and enter to heritage site to explore just it, to see the attributes in order to go through or towards the cultural tourism. That it gives a space or provides space to have less visitors and high revenues, especially after coronavirus period in 2020. It gave us an effective lesson that how we can make a well-management tourism at the heritage site, providing edutainment activities, that activities focus on how to present these heritage values in entertainment ways. Okay. Second point, how to offer various programs regarding the preferences of our visitors or regarding the main target groups at the heritage site. Yes, the heritage site is for public, but on the other hand, we have to focus about the main target groups which are regularly come to our heritage site. And then it will give a space to generate mitigation measures for the human-induced impacts. Towards interlink the tangible and the intangible and give a space for the youth generation, a space to provide or to put a modification under mentoring or auditing. So it will help us to make a community development. How? By re-representing the heritage values and the community values in a socio-economic manner. Inside entrepreneurship projects or in other circular economy formats. According to this, I try to share with you that the heritage marketing have various stages. The first stage is heritage promotion that started from scratch, that you present or share the values of the heritage site with the surrounding community or the surrounding audience around the core zone of the heritage site, raising their awareness towards the services and facilities and the values of the heritage site. once the heritage site have a limited carrying capacity and the fragile material, I stop or pause with this stage. If not, I can get the outcome to upgrade my level to enter the heritage marketing stage in order to share my values with the international and the distinctional local market in the same state. So the characteristics of heritage marketing that to present a convenient conservation statement and also have a good carrying capacity to present the values, to make activities, to make events and so on. And this stage is not only is dealing with the surrounding community who are living surrounding the core zone, but dealing with the local audience in the same state or international visitors who come outside of of this site. And then if the site have a will conservation statement that doesn't have a fragile material and is not affected by human-induced impacts and have a high space or high carrying capacity, in this case, I can invite the heritage site to enter to have its brand, to enter this level without to lose any value of its structure, whatever, tangible or intangible. But what's the characteristics of heritage branding? First of all, exchanged value between the heritage site and the other stakeholders. So they focus on make a partnership between the heritage site and the community and the heritage site and the other stakeholders, governmental, private sector, academia, consultancy, tourism agencies. By the way, it could be considered like an augmentation level because in this stage, I can develop the nostalgic based emotional rapport between the heritage site and the visitors and between the heritage site and the community who are living near the heritage or the core zone and who are living in the buffer zone. So in the third characteristic that the self-realization sense by visitors, or we can say interactive, that the heritage site will create its a promoter that the visitor once he came to the heritage site he will have a rapport or the outreach image in his mind. And for the heritage site community, we have focused in this case study about the people-centered approach that not focus on the tangibility or immateriality of the heritage, but we focus on the practices of the community and we can say the consequences and the circumstances of their practices step by step and the layers of it creating their own cultural identity because the cultural identity is different totally than the national identity. Cultural identity is have that all destinations that in the same city have its unique cultural identity manifestations. And then regarding this stage in heritage branding, it gives us a space to go from the core zone that which consists of the main attributes, tangible and intangible, to go out of it, providing a space for other small entrepreneur and investors to share this heritage values in socio-economic wise. And by the way, I can make this, I can conserve these attributes. So in order, unfortunately, there is no specific theory or perspective to make a heritage branding for the heritage site or museum, but through my investigation, I could to select some theories which in relation to knowledge or focus on knowledge And by the way, it's matched or associated to cultural identity because cultural identity mainly focused on the knowledge of the community. By the way, I selected the Killer Brand Knowledge Model 1993 and its evaluation in the pyramid brand equity. And then the last one about the Museum of Ethnography brand structure for visitors 2018. Regarding this, I can share with you because to save the time, this is the main values of the cultural landscape of Civita di Banregio. It is near to Rome, 2 hours in Orvieto region or province, and it is one of the main landmark in the Lazio region that invite more than 1 million visitors per year. While it has so limited carrying capacity, it has a high representation since the BC up to the medieval ages and modern periods after the Second World War. Regarding this brand or this logo, it was prepared while they prepare the file to be a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So they put the main manifestations of the tangibility and their conservation project lately. They rebuilt or reconstructed the bridge, which was a part of the hill of Civita di Banregio. And here you can see the signs that they put here that some of the immaterial attributes like the racing of donkeys and these waves of hiking in the hill of Kalanki, and also the unique herbs because this region is so common that they prepare spoons and cosmetics from the unique herbs there, and the Christianity because there are multiple representation for the monasties who are lived there during the persecution of Christianity. And last one, the live nativity, because the church there, it could be a hub for the pilgrimage of the Christianity route in Italy. Here they starting or launching the marketing statement of the Civita di Banregio by sharing the photos and the landscape by social media devices and enhance its marketing position by creating and arranging folkloristic and economic actions, events, and exhibitions. And the municipality started to follow the territorial brandings by sharing the values and make a pose for the Banregio totally and Viterbo, and also focus on Civita di Banregio in the great exhibitions of Italy like Milan, Borsa for tourism. Here we can see the reflection of the cultural landscape skylines on the logos of the surrounding services and facilities and amenities like the restaurants, gift shops and hotels, motels, Airbnb. And lately we find by TripAdvisor that the city or the Civita di Banregio get a logo or get slogan that the city in the sky because the city it's already hanging out of the Kalanki Valley, as you see. You can see from this photo that it's a bridge to get stairs to the Civita di Banregio, which built on this Kalanki Valley. And also has the most common slogan, it's the dying city, because the city have a multiple crises during 60s and previously by the Second World War that the German already hit it or bombed it by the flights. And then during 60s, there is a great earthquakes that 50% of this Kalanki city, it's already died, okay, or destructed. And then there are some people called it surrounding in a fog of unreality, because during the winter the fog or the clouds cover it totally. Now, the Lazio region and the municipality of Banreggio started to make or generate a new slogan, which called "Fighting to Life City," in order to stop or pose the negative effects or imagination of visitors who come and think that they come to distracted city without buildings, without people, without life. So now Civita de Mareggio, yes, they don't have a community because the last local, not local community, we can say the indigenous community, they are just 10 people, 10 people who are over 100 years old. So they couldn't transfer or transmit, transmit the knowledge of Civita de Mareggio to the new successors. And the owners of the majority of buildings, they are belongs to the successor of their parents, that the real owners of these buildings, and they changed the functionality of these buildings to be guest house, to be Airbnb, to be a wine bar, to be a restaurant, to be like guest house, or something to make events and so on. Here we can see that Civita de Banreggio already shared with a broad audience abroad that they get it as a coverage background of packaging for Civita, for Nutella chocolate, and it was one of the fantastic campaigns for Nutella. That it's regarding the Nutella company, said that with this packaging they sell over half billion packet to the audience by this photo. And also regarding the other there are multiple companies, and also the Civita de Banreggio stories. It's already shared by orchestra, by rappers, by the cinema and cartoon in Japan, and so on. Also, that the Banreggio municipality and the region started to share the background and materiality and immateriality heritage of the landscape with the students, or we can focus here about the primary school students, to make stories like you see with animation to understand the social practices, and they make this like a donkey racing, and still up to now they practice this two times per year, once in February and once time in September. And also you can find that some buildings, it's already sold previously to some figures in Italy and abroad, like this Valentina Visti, this one of the great and famous presenter in Rai Uno TV channel, and also Paolo Crevetti, Italian physicist, and One Direction American band have a building there. You can see like Italian fashion designer, Gucci creative director Alessandro Micheli, that have a building there. And some visitors, regarding my conversation with visitors, they come regularly to the site, and they imagine probably they can see and those figures. Also, one of the big positive impacts of branding Civita de Banreggio is the ticket, or we can say the tax fees which collected from visitors is already upgraded from 150 euro in 2013 to 5 euro now in 2023. And because that the high number of visitors, so the municipality upgrades the level of ticket or the ticket price in order to manage the number of visitors. But while of this price, the visitors still up to now go there with high numbers. And also the case of branding Civita di Banreggio effect on the region, that there are 400 business activities were generated in the area, including the tourism services, facilities, and amenities. And the municipality has a zero unemployment rate. The reduction in local taxes percentage, they stopped to take any taxes from the community who are living in Banreggio or belongs to Banreggio municipality. Viterbo province became the first one in the Lazio region, which represents 41% of the agri-tourism businesses and activities. Here we can see the negative impacts of branding, that the degradation of population, that now there is no indigenous community. As I said for you, there is only 10 people who are living there in their homes, and they are over 100 years old, while other we can call them local community who came to the city because they are retired and they would like to make a small investment by restore these buildings and make their business, like as I say, the restaurant, or to make a Airbnb and so on. So we can understand that this lack of community conservation, it's you make a kind of uncontrolled tourism, domestic alteration, that the lifestyle or the traditional agrarian lifestyle, it's already sometimes you can feel it's abandoned or vanished namely. And also here through this statistic of overflow money, yes, the city covers year by year high number of or high level of money or earns, but on the other hand, we can see this high number of visitors, it's affect negatively on the conservation statement, and they not give a space or opportunity to share the real background of the tangible or the stories of these buildings and the functionalities. Also here we can see that some people, because of this high customized approach, that few restaurants like Alma Civita or Proscritaria Antico Frontoio is presenting the traditional food in the city. And like you can see this poster, that one of the owner of the buildings, they have a kind of cave, and they call it come back to the Etruscan period, while we don't have any documentation about it. There is no inscription, and also they call it a museum and put some wooden artifacts and some tools related to their parents about agriculture, and they call it come back to Etruscan. So how we can focus about the accuracy of the kind of knowledge shared with visitors. The last negative or other human-induced impacts on the cultural identity and the sustainability of this creative brand, we can see that the majority of publicity is just focus on geological nature of the pictures, but not focus on the historical timeline since the Etruscan era. And the local and the international visitors, when they come to get a photo, just to enter on the backbone street, not discover any place, just come to take photos in panorama, and they maybe to drink wine and eat in some restaurants, so on. But they don't have any knowledge or what this, but just they like the photos, they like the landscape. On the other hand, regarding the climate change issues, we can see that high number of cars and motorbikes which enter in depth from Banregio. So these carbon emissions will gradually contribute to changing the surrounding weather, while regarding the reports of municipality that the Kalanki Valley or Kalanki Hill, it's already deteriorating every year 1 millimeter because of this climate change. Regarding all of this case study, I would like to share with you that this proposed model about people-centered heritage branding approach that first step to analyze the identity, including the community and these tangible and intangible manifestations or expressions. Regarding this, I will get the most unique, or in other words, as we speak in the world heritage, the cultural significance or the outstanding universal value. Here, it's not outstanding universal value, but the most unique value in this site, which make a differentiation value for the heritage site. By the way, I can generate from it the brand awareness, including its symbol, its logo, slogan, interacting with other stakeholders or beneficiaries. I can make inter-exchanged images, or in other words, we can make indirect formats for the heritage site. By the way, I can share with the community, I can share with the visitors multiple images that the site doesn't have one image only, but have a multiple images. I can create every 5 years a new unique logo and slogan. Okay. By the way, I have a sustainability for the brand atmosphere of the heritage site in conservative wise. Overall, it will give us a kind of contemporary interactive atmosphere and the high respectivity for the cultural diversity, either whether for visitors, cultures who come outside of my state or the community who are living in the heritage site. Also, it give a new indications and resources for development projects with less human-induced
Mr.
impacts.
Amr,
Yes, I am
yes,
concluding. I
you
am
must
concluding.
close. Yes, yes.
I am
Thank you.
concluding. So the last one is social life and well-being. So totally, according to this model, we can find that the heritage branding in people-centered approach, which adopt a people-centered approach, it contributes to raise awareness, public awareness, to apply. It applies the cultural heritage-based entrepreneurship aspect with community, like control the visitor overflow. By the way, we can go out with these high human-induced impacts from the core zone and its negative impacts on the attributes, intangible and tangible, to the buffer zone or the surrounding area, and sharing this high beneficiary atmosphere and socioeconomic wise with other communities like this case study. Thanks too much for your attention. And if you have any questions more than our discussion here in this webinar, you can share with me by email or by LinkedIn. Thanks too much for your listening. Thanks to Dr. Georgia.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amr, for your enlightening presentation. And now we must go to the last but not least, Dr. Ioannis Choumas, who has studied 3D design, has an MA in the history of design, and he's a PhD in the history of art. The title of his presentation is Tourism Advertisements and Their Significance in Promoting Architectural Cultural Heritage in Greece, Then and Now. The time is yours, Mr. Choumas.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Kirhanderi. Hello to everybody again. I would like to share, of course, my screen. Let me see it, and I will just start immediately, just not to delay at all. And just find where my let me just see. Okay, here we got access to my let me see, I'll just move it. I've got access to my PowerPoint. Can you see it?
Yes, yes.
Oh, fine. Okay, I'm just
Yes,
start.
okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Continue.
Yes, of course, I'm starting. In the 1960s, advertising had already begun to play an important role within Greek society and state. Black and white or colored, printed or broadcasted, advertising managed to leave its trace in the collective memory of the century, creating its own myth with images and promises. It discreetly opened the door of the average urban Greek house, and not just Greek, to sneak in during the consumer years that followed, thus indicated the home's aesthetics and needs. In combination with the tourism boom in the 60s, advertising was probably the only type of the tourism product that was limited in print form, not only in magazines, newspapers, and other publications of the time, but also in the form of posters and leaflets made by the official state representative, the Greek National Tourism Organization, GNTO. Advertising thus became soon an important promotional tool of the then rising Greek tourism. Specifically, the vision of Greece as a new major touristic destination was actually supported by the first travel agencies, which promoted impressive print ads designed exclusively for tourists, which at the same time were magnificent ambassadors of the country abroad, as they were associated with its touristic uniqueness. As regards local architecture and tourism in the broader context of the Greek cultural heritage, advertising did take advantage of its monumentality, as the classical monuments of the Greek antiquity were promoted as the sole agents of culture, aesthetics, and national identity in the newly discovered field for architectural exploration and constructs of the international tourist market. Greece was typically depicted through its ancient monumental ruins, thriving in Attica, Delphi, the Cyclades, the Peloponnese, almost everywhere in the country, echoing the past glory, but also the new potential for its culture and heritage. Posters and advertisements were carefully executed and constituted almost pieces of art as they depicted the classical architectural beauty in a multifaceted artistic way. Modern, abstract, flat compositions and detailed color photographs, which rendered photography as the dominant textual genre, were particularly effective and narrative. These posters tried thus to idealize the stereotypical austerity of the classical architectural forms, making them look more charming to the viewers and potential visitors. GNTU posters, leaflets, magazine, and newspaper advertisements promoting the architectural miracle of antiquity tried at the same time to equalize it in the context of the Greek cultural heritage, of course, with the local architecture, which was different from place to place. At the time, the focus of the general tourism campaign was the most well-known and highly visited places of the country, such as the Cyclades, the Argosaronic Islands, Crete, the Ionian Islands, but not so much the mainland, which in my opinion, was equally interesting in terms of vernacular architecture. However, The basic tourism targets would definitely not disappoint the viewers, as advertisements presented their architectural heritage as one of the most precious gems in the crown of cultural heritage. For instance, the whitewashed windmills of Mykonos, overlooking the simple but beautifully arranged cubic-like architectural landscape of Kora, were promoted as the unknown symbols of the Cycladic vernacular architecture. On the other hand, the stone-built houses of Hydra, still preserving their architectural physiognomy, looked like fortresses and constituted a new discovery for massive tourism. Rising over the curving alleys and looking over the picturesque port of the island, the sublime architecture of Hydra was used so as to awaken amazing feelings to the viewer, who would easily link them with the general cultural image of Greece abroad. A decade earlier, in the 50s, the state tourism program Xenia, a program of the Greek National Tourism Organization, of course, supported the development of tourist infrastructure throughout the country with the aim of tourist development and the emergence of Greece as a global tourist destination. The program included the construction and maintenance of a series of tourist facilities, such as hotels, tourist kiosks, organized beaches, camping sites, motels, whatever, which would be erected along the national roads of the country and in areas of increased tourist interest. Thus, many posters of the time, and especially in the 60s, promoted the new modern architecture of Greek hotels, thus equating their value with that of traditional architecture, hinting at the development of Greece as a modern country. At the time, there were not sustainability projects in Greece, especially in the tourism sector. So we cannot have access in any of the projects because there were not any. And even there were some, they wouldn't be shown through the ads. Almost 60 years after the 1960s, Greek tourism has become an important economic and cultural value, and it is now considered to have a credible contribution to the growth of the gross national product. In this context, the way of dealing with and managing the tourism product has changed radically since, as it now comes under the uniform strategy of tourism marketing. Thus, the new communication tools for the promotion of tourism, which constitutes an amalgam of goods and services, are not limited to print advertising, but extend to areas such as the internet, radio, television advertising, public relations, etc. In particular, via the internet, which echoes the new lifestyle of Western societies, new ways of tourism are intensively promoted, showing not only the inherited from past generation cultural architectural heritage, the legacy of classical monuments, as well the archaeological sites, the cultural landscapes, and the local traditional architecture, which provide opportunities for leisure and tourism, but also, and this is very interesting, the urban history of a place. Particularly on the urban level, the dynamic relationship between cultural heritage and tourism is even more apparent. Urban cultural tourism, which also focuses on traditional communities, is a growing trend worldwide, attracting attention from different fields such as tourism management, architecture, urban planning, and environmental sciences. The traditional urban communities, architectural heritage, and tourism growth based on a holistic and integrating understanding of the dimensions embedded in urban heritage ensembles constitutes a new approach of tourism which focuses on the vibrant hustle and bustle way of living in the big cities of the country. For instance, Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki, one of Greece's most popular cities for tourism, constitutes a very popular destination at the time, not only due to its continuous historical multicultural presence for more than 23 centuries, but also for its interesting urban character. Its vivid urban fabric, endowed with historic and modern architectural and spatial planning elements, is closely associated with a new way of life, which mixes old and new ways of entertainment, attracting thus many visitors. Urban or city destinations in Greece have now become particularly attractive to tourists as they offer them a broad and heterogeneous range, mainly architectural, but also cultural, technological, social, and even natural in terms of experience. Now something different, religiously motivated travel, such as pilgrimages, is one of the oldest forms of tourism. Religious tourism has evolved in diverse contexts and locations, and it is increasingly explored by scholars from various fields. However, in Greece, well-organized, religiously motivated tourism, especially in underdeveloped destinations, has only recently experienced significant development. Existing literature on religious tourism suggests a growing diversification of visitors who are driven by the diminishing significance of traditional religious beliefs in contemporary societies. The richness of cultural heritage of Greece includes numerous Orthodox monuments, which play a significant role in this type of tourism, as they are harmoniously integrated in untouched nature and are part of the country's diverse architectural history. Both on the mainland and on the islands, the visitor will come across a large number of Byzantine churches, Christian basilicas, age-old monasteries, countless rural metochia, monastery grounds and gardens, sacred places of pilgrimage, and religious sites, all of which inspire awe, respect, promising to travel visitors back in time. Eastern Orthodox Church architecture constitutes a distinct, recognizable family of styles among church architectures. These styles share a cluster of fundamental similarities, having been influenced by the common legacy of Byzantine architecture from the Eastern Roman Empire. Today, advertising gives a chance to potential visitors to experience the majestic beauty of Greek Orthodox Church architecture, first through new means of communication via social media and all that stuff, thus bringing closer the grandeur of sacred temples to tourists. We could say that cultural heritage in general, which includes, of course, religious tourism, plays a very significant role in building conservation, but in this case, it is not shown in advertisements. Finally, two relatively new types of tourism in Greece, let me just do that, are ecotourism and agrotourism. They both have highlighted the concepts of provincial, small towns, village, and country heritage that refer not only to traditions, practices, customs, but also to rural architecture. This type of heritage, which is vastly advertised by media, is deeply rooted in the land, the natural environment, and the close relationship among villagers, reflecting a way of life that is both timeless and irreplaceable. Small towns, village, and countryside architectural heritage, which had not been discovered as a significant tourism product in the 60s, constitutes an indicative case of sustainability, as it is now as it not only regards the preservation of old traditional buildings, houses, bridges, mills, and all that stuff, but also protects the ancient rituals, customs, and morals, and safeguards the very essence of rural identity, which is becoming increasingly threatened by industrialization, urbanization, and globalization in this rapidly modernizing world. Tourists who choose this type of destinations are thoroughly aware of this threat and many times combine their leisure with specific activities, which may include folk art, oral traditions, sustainable farming techniques, even restoration projects in many cases. Concluding, I would say that advertising played a significant role in establishing Greek architecture in the global tourism consciousness as a part of cultural heritage of the country in both eras. However, in the 60s, there were not important sustainability issues. And of course, we cannot have any trace of them in the advertisements of the time. However, it is today that new forms of tourism revealed unknown and sometimes unforeseen types of architecture, which play important role in the new tourism culture. At the same time, rural architecture seems to have been associated with many sustainability matters, and this can also be traced in many forms of advertising. Specifically, advertising has promoted the small town, village, and countryside architecture in many ways, so as to constitute now the most significant field of sustainability projects in tourism in Greece, especially in the infrastructure and housing restoration projects. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention.
I would like to thank Dr. Tumas for his informative presentation, which involves not only the cultural heritage, but also advertising, which in my opinion, is an unexploded area which needs to be further researched, I think. Now it's time to have to ask some questions. There are already questions for Mrs. Georgi and one for Dr. Amer. So, Mrs. Georgi, one of our participants in this webinar asks, do the heritage policies are well connected with regional and urban planning? What are the main conflicts? Is there participatory planning?
Well, so far, I think that the policies that Ioannis had followed are linked to regional and urban planning.
We cannot hear you.
Okay. Now?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we hear you.
So, yes, I do that. So far, the city has followed policies that are well connected.
No.
Could you mute
There
your
is an
speaker?
echo. There is an echo.
Could you
Angela,
mute your speaker?
Yeah.
My speaker.
Yes,
Yeah, there is
there's
an
an echo.
echo.
There's a
Yeah.
Now
voice.
it's better. Can you hear me better now?
No, the echo continues. I think that there may be two speakers. There is someone that is with
Okay, now
another.
is it better now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, so I think that so far the policies that the city had followed are well linked to regional and urban planning. But of course, there are still challenges. The city so far has kept the unique character alive. Well, one of the main conflicts could be the balance between conservation and contemporary development, and the tourism management. How participatory approach to planning, I can say that for the city is limited. Well, I think that the residents would like to have a greater involve and a greater involve in order to enhance their own vision for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Georgie. Please. Let's now go to Mr. Amer.
Yes, I need to add something to my colleague about
Just
participatory.
a moment, please, because we're in the
Yes.
same place with Mrs. Georgie, and we have a problem with the
Do you
audio.
hear me?
Okay. Mr. Amer,
Yes, I hear you. Yes, I am here.
let's the question from the audience. With all the current movement in Europe to challenge the effects of tourism on heritage authenticity and conservation, has there been any local society movement against turning this settlement into a ghost town focused solely on tourism? Is there anyone advocating for the 10 indigenous residents?
Okay, it's a good question. First of all, I would like to add something to my colleague to clarify her perspective about participatory. Yes, you are right. In the great towns, the point of controlling the stakeholders is wide, but could be effective. I have the case study in Romania. It's called Alba Iulia citadel, and at the same time it's a town, and they focused on make a participatory. Yes, they not follow it effectively, but they try as much as they can to make a participatory, that to encourage community to share their preferences, to share their ideas to attract tourism, and at the same time to invite the local investors, or we can say the entrepreneurs. So by this way, they valorize the point of participatory to be in socio-economic, that the community sharing their ideas in entrepreneurial ideas in order to reuse the adaptively the abandoned spaces in this castle, or we can say the fortified city. On the other hand, they make a logo for Alba Iulia and they call it the other capital in order to valorize its position in the cultural tourism market of Romania. So this is the point. And the second point, yes, it's very effective for small towns and villages that I participated in this case studies in Italy, and also in case study in Sweden. and it was focused on rural regions, and the participatory community, or we can say the partnership, like to do a people public private partnership in these areas is very effective. Because the community is small and everyone, the stakeholders are very clear, not wide like the big cities. So it's a difference between city to another, from community to another, the vision of the city council, and so on. So I agree with you. It's not a comment against you. It's addition to your words. For the question of the urbanization, yes. The point is the relationship between tourism or these effectivities between European cities and each other. No, the case by case. For example, there is a city, it's called Caprarola, near to Rome. While community doesn't like to, yes, they practice their social practices, but they don't like to attract tourism. And in the summer season, the tourists come to Cabrarola because of Vico Lake there, but they not go out of the region of Vico Lake. They just make a snorkeling to make some games or events on the beach, but not go through the village and not join the community. But if you go to this city like Civita do Bandurigio or Bandurigio, because the vision of the municipality, it's touristic, and you can say it's a customized approach to something. They attract the owners to reinvest in their buildings or properties, because if you go there, you will not find high numbers of external people. The majority of people there, they are the successors of the parents, that the buildings or these properties, it belongs to their fathers and mothers or grandfathers, or but the point, they are so far about this cultural knowledge, they didn't continue. They already grown up in other areas, while in Rome or other villages near to Civita de Manriggio, because the city was died. I mean, there is no services, there is no facility to live there, and also the bridge was destructing and didn't construct yet while they are little boy or little girls. So once the municipality make a conservation project and restored these buildings as their properties, they come back and reinvest it in various forms. The point that the continuity of this cultural knowledge was cut, and the ages of the original people or indigenous community there in this place, as soon as we died, okay, or we can say, yeah, passed away, because they are over 100 years old. So it's regarding community. Also, there is another case study. It's called Valentina in Lombardia, in Italy. And the community there is as soon as to be indigenous. They conserve their cultural knowledge, and they are so common in the market by their unique wine. So they make a brand. It's called 54 Corners, and it's so common brand in the wine of Italy. Yes, it's not a brand international, but locally, and people go there in the summer to explore the rural villages and to drink from this wine. Okay. So it's regarding the community and their perspective and how they preserve their material culture and social practice. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ammer, Dr. Ammer. And I think that we meet this phenomenon everywhere in small villages with cultural heritage, with important cultural heritage. And now I'd like to ask Mr. Dr. Chumas if cultural heritage in concept in tourism in the 60s is treated in the same way as today.
Well, it's a very actually easy answer to your question. At the time, I would say that tourism was a rather virgin sort of area of in terms of management, let's say that. So people were not aware actually of the potential of the tourism, and they were not aware not only of the potential of a tourism as a product to sell, but also many other aspects. For example, as I said before, the sustainability sort of issue was not taken into account at all because there was no need at the time. But now the sustainability sort of issue is used in advertising in many cases, especially in these two types, and not only these, of tourism I just mentioned. For example, agrotourism and ecotourism. It's used as as an incentive to people, to attract people, to participate into that, and possibly to actually come closer to their own ideology, because many people are into that direction. Many people are sustainability aware at the time, and people who choose this type of tourism are definitely ideologically linked to the sustainability issue. So there are many, many more sort of concepts and fields that are attached to the tourism product today than then, of course. But now advertising can use them too as a tool of myth, as a tool of attracting people. And this is the point, in my opinion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dr. Chumas. And now there is another question for, there's a lot of questions now. For Mrs. Georgie, is the satisfaction of visitors a priority? It is not the satisfaction of inhabitants of Ioannina which could or should come first.
One should come first. I mean, yeah. Not. Right now, the satisfaction of visitors, it is a priority for Ioannina because tourism right now contributes to the local economy significantly. So strategies, all the strategies around Ioannina involve but in order for the city to succeed resilience, I think that and the satisfaction of the inhabitants should coexist harmoniously because that's the only way that both groups can have long-term benefits.
Έλα. Κάλεσες.
For
You are muted, Georgia.
Georgia, you're muted.
can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. And this is our last question, please.
Just a minute to hear. myself. Okay. Dr. Amer, what are the criteria that some heritage sites are considered as World Heritage Cultural and some others are not, according to your opinion?
What he means? Criteria for what?
I'm not good with that.
Hello? Yeah, criteria for what? You can repeat again the question, please?
Is the criteria that some heritage sites are considered as world cultural heritage?
It's according the World Heritage, there are multiple it's 6 criterion on the UNESCO World Heritage, but it's mainly focused on the kind of outstanding universal value, and it's shared with other communities because universal, it's a great word that they are focused on the heritage values which is generated or transferred along geographical boundaries, not according to our current geographical country boundaries nowadays, but in the ancient world. So the space of the place on the world was integrately, so the values that shared between communities. So to be a World Heritage Site, first of all, you have to analyze your values, you have to write the statement of significance, to specify which criteria you are according to. For example, you are a masterpiece, you are belongs to be a living heritage, whether it's disappeared or still practiced. So to explain this criteria, we need another lecture to present this criteria and share it in details. It's so huge question to answer it now.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Amer. Do we have time for further questions or not? Suppose I would like
If
to.
the questions are there, Georgia, just
So, Qasim, could you include this session and the close-up, please?
no. I was saying if there are questions, Georgia can fill them to the speakers so that they can answer them.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Georgia.
Okay, thank you. I would like to ask this is Georgie. About the second question, only a question, just a moment. Do you think, Mrs. Georgie, that the areas around, just a moment to close my audio. Do you think that the areas around the city of Ioannina are affected by the sustainability projects, are equally affected by the sustainability projects?
Well, I think that surrounding areas
like the stone villages of Zagori or the famous village of Metsovo city, they don't always experience the same level of impact as the city itself, because the benefits are more, we can see the benefits are more immediate. We can see the benefits in the city more immediate. I think that it is very important though to ensure that these projects will also address the need of the nearby communities, because they play a key role in the city's cultural and ecological balance.
Thank you, Mrs. Georgie, for your answer. I want to ask another question to Dr. Thomas from the audience. How local people can be involved in producing authentic advertisement that share their heritage values?
Well, I think it is absolutely important for them to participate and get involved into that, in my opinion. They can be drastically involved as they represent the basic idea of their tourism product, actually. So, without them, and actually examining the sustainability sort of issues from outside, people cannot actually understand what's going on. Only the people who are into it can actually give an authentic example of the way they live and what they want to do actually with their own projects. For example, restoration projects, conservation projects, revival of customs, of folk art, or whatever. Even the engagement and the participation of tourists into that have to be promoted by the people who own the places for their own good and for the good of for their own places, because these people are the only authentic sort of and genuine centers of information, and everything must come up from them. This is my actual opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. And now I think we have finished with the part of questions. I would like to give the speech to Mr. Kasim Omar or Summer.
Thank you, Georgia, for a wonderful moderation of the webinar. You were able to actually steer it through in a wonderful way, and congratulations for that good work. First of all, I would wish to apologize for having coming in late. I was caught up in traffic as I was getting to this place to host myself. And also, much thanks go to the speakers that we had, Madam Sosi, Dr. Amer, and Dr. Sumas, for having had the time to share with us your experiences. Your presentations have been able to actually bring out the various dimensions of this topic, where tourism, on one hand, we wish to attract to our size, but at the same time, it's a double-edged sword with multiple challenges along the way, and you've brought it quite well, right from the issues of alienation of communities to over-tourism to going all the way back to different aspects of the heritage being sort of eroded in a way which the dominant voices align towards the tourists who are coming to those places. All that is something that needs to be well crafted to ensure that not only we benefit from tourism, but at the same time, we don't carry with it the dangers that it comes with. I would also wish to thank, first and foremost, of course, our moderator, Georgia, my fellow HCI program members who've been central in organizing this, Samir Helmi and Monica Bahia. Thank you so much for having tirelessly worked in bringing this to fruition. Then also I'd wish to thank the UAE Secretariat through our point person Muyathi for having made it possible for us to host this webinar. Then also I would wish to thank my co-director who's not here, Anjumala. We also wish to thank the participants for having had the chance to come in and listening to the presentation of the various speakers. It has been quite a wonderful session. It's not the last. We would look upon you to actually patronize and attend other seminars that will be organized on various topics that we normally have as a work program. And thank you so much. God bless you. And good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kasim, for
Thank you.
everything and for your hospitality, to give us the opportunity to participate to this interesting webinar. Okay,
Thank you too.
all. Thank you all. Thank you all of you.